Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone around the world. This is the Joe Soro Experiment. I'm your host, Joe Soro. And this late evening, at least here in sunny nighttime California, sunny nighttime. It's not sunny, obviously, but it's like a nice hot evening. The summer's coming, even though we're still in spring. But the summer's coming, so the weather's starting to get a little bit warmer, starting to turn on our fans and enjoying the reason why a lot of us live in California, weather being one of the big ones. But thank you for being here tonight. Wish I was here for better results from our local teams in the LA Lakers and the LA Dodgers, but we're going to go into some detail in each one. For those of you who watched me on the Lakers Fast Break a few hours ago, you saw, heard, watched, observed a little bit of ranting in the show. And while I let the ranting go pretty good in that one, I do have another rant that I'm probably going to have tonight. I don't know if I'm going to get as loud on the volume, but there are some things I want to, I guess, get off my chest. But again, thank you for being here tonight. We're going to dive into the bigger of the two games initially, and then I'll get into the Dodgers losing the series against the Washington Nationals, which was actually a surprise to me. And to end the show, we're going to talk a little bit about the Dodgers' visit to the White House. It's probably where a lot of my angst is going to be on tonight's show, and I think it's important that that I get off a little bit of stuff off my chest on that one, because while I wasn't surprised at some of the things I saw and heard, it's still interesting how people view things still after all that's gone on in the country. So tonight, the Lakers were on the second game of a back-to-back, but not in days, but a back-to-back game against the Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma. And the results would have likely have been a much more interesting result. Whether the Lakers would have won or lost, we'll never know. But at the 7:40 mark, with a very tight game, matter of fact, I think the Lakers had just taken a 1-point lead on a Luka mid-range shot. Luka decided to look at a fan in the stand that apparently was talking smack to, and ended up getting his second technical foul and then getting ousted out of the game. Therefore, taking kind of the juice out of the Lakers completely emotionally, and eventually getting blown out in the last 7:40 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and having the Lakers basically lose any chance at getting closer to clinching the number 3 seed. And obviously, NBA fans, Laker fans getting a better product in the end. And I don't know what else to say other than it's amazing how an official or a NBA decider, like a official in the NBA or in any league in general, it's amazing how officials can absolutely damage so much of the game by making bad calls and making non-calls and making crucial calls that can dictate seedings, can dictate uh, mindsets. Because I had stated on the Lakers Fast Break that not only did we lose out on possibly seeing maybe the game of the year for all we know, with how competitive it was, maybe the Lakers would have, had they won, could have put some fear in Oklahoma City and maybe created enough doubt to where, should the Lakers end up meeting the Oklahoma City Thunder in the playoffs, Oklahoma City starts to wonder if they are truly a 1 seed. We're not going to know that. I don't know necessarily if Oklahoma City feels 100% after this. They could feel, well, we got a little bit of a break there and we were able to get out of it. But we'll for sure, we know that there isn't this devastation that could have developed had the Lakers won this game or had a chance to win this game, because winning both games in Oklahoma City on back-to-back games, you didn't see that a lot up until recently. At least I haven't seen that on the schedule a lot, where you play a singular team in back-to-back games. That's just kind of a recent thing that's happened, and I think the league did that so that they can minimize some travel in certain areas. So imagine you're a one seed and you get the best record in the league, and you're supposed to be the bee's knees of the league. And yeah, I think they had a 10-game winning streak, I believe, just right before the Lakers came into town. And here you are. You're looking at a team that has a particular player that's already done some things to you. And now he's on a team, in my view, that's better than the team last year. And he was about to cook, because that's what Luka Doncic does in the last few minutes of games. Now, the Lakers haven't taken full advantage of that, in my view, since he's been a Laker. I think for some weird reason, the offense that hasn't been running through Luka in the last moments of a game. But maybe we would have got that tonight. But we're not going to know why, because apparently this guy, I don't even want to mention his name, NBA referee, you all know who he is. Everyone, I'm sure, he's gonna be popular from here on out. All of a sudden, here we are, and we're not talking about an amazing ending. We're talking about an ending that was crippled by a guy's cluelessness on the moment. Why? Because apparently Luka Doncic has gotten under the skin of refs, because all he does is complain. So your your solution is to pick the worst time to do it, to teach him a lesson. I had mentioned this. I had mentioned this on I had mentioned this on Lakers Fast Break, that you could have done this in a different game. You could have done this in a game where not everyone was kind of watching. You had a lot of people watching this game, even though it wasn't a nationally televised game on ABC. But people were watching this game because those who watch the NBA, those who understand the game, knew that this could mean something down the road. And we got cheated out of that. I don't know what Oklahoma City Thunder fans think. My guess is they don't give a damn. They got the win. But deep down, if you sat down with someone who really cares about basketball, I think they can say, look, yeah, we won kind of in a lucky way. And the game kind of got destroyed by that. We just ended up seeing what we knew was coming after they lost. Luka. We knew that this thing wasn't going to work out. Now, there have been some that have said, well, they should have been able to, tighten up and win anyways. This isn't one of those games where that would have happened. And plus, you have to understand, this isn't a Laker team that's technically, fundamentally sound to do something like that. It's just not in the books. And LeBron James is trying to fight through whatever he's trying to fight through to get to the playoffs in one piece. It is just a recipe for all the bad things that likely ended up happening, and it did. And Lakers end up losing 136 to 120. Imagine that. This team was up one with 7:20 left. But if you look at the score, you think it was a blowout during the game, right? That's how bad that call was. And that ref, in my view, should never, ever sniff another Laker game as long as he's reffing in the NBA. That guy is a bum. That guy is a clown. And he absolutely embarrassed the league tonight and embarrassed everyone that was watching. Well, here we are, Mr. What are we here? Why am I not being able to click you in here, G?
I don't know.
I can hear you, but you're not here. What's hold on, I got you. There we go.
There you go.
Sorry. Welcome, Gerald. I opened up the show.
Dan StreamYard, what's up with that?
Yeah, I tried to open up the show a little bit with some originality, because I know I kind of went off on our show on the LFB,
which they love.
Nothing has tempered itself since the show. It's been a very irritating evening. Even though I've calmed down, and I even almost took a nap a little bit between shows, but the Lakers have a probably more popular game tomorrow with the drama of the Mavericks and the Luka returning to Dallas. But tonight's game was kind of like a really good a stamp for me on the regular season. I was just like, I am so done with the regular season. I just want the playoffs to start. I lost a little bit of excitement for tomorrow's game. I had it before this game. I just want them to win 2 more games and just I'm just ready for the first round. And that's just where I'm standing on this. I don't know where you stand on it. I don't know where all you guys stand on it that are on the show. Go ahead and comment, and again, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share. I don't know where I stand. I feel like I'm kind of burnt out at this point, where I just want it gone. I want all this stuff gone. I want something to start meaning something. I want to know what the results are going to be here, where it matters.
Don't start anything, Chris. You can't finish. Please don't. I'll just leave it at that. JY says, because this never was and is not funny. JY says that the Lakers expecting to sit players. You know,
Is that the information? I haven't checked the update yet.
I just think because they sat Rui tonight, that they're going to play him tomorrow. They're going to use that as a buffer to sit someone else out. That's just my gut feeling, and I don't
and that's
like it.
Yeah,
Don't approve of it.
that's the other part.
That
I'm tired of that question. I'm tired of that question day in and day out from the media, from the fans, from our people. Are we going to play everybody? Are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? Now the playoffs are here. Every single game, every single win, every single loss matters. We don't have to deal with any of this workload management anymore. And I'm just ready to watch the Lakers play and it matters. Who they're playing is going to be probably the most interesting part in the next 3 days. That's the thing that I'm really, really focused on. Are they going to play the Clippers? Are they going to play the Warriors? Are they going to play the Minnesota Timberwolves? I thought Minnesota was going to likely be the team until they blew their lead here today. I think it was, what was it, 24 points in the fourth quarter against Milwaukee?
yeah.
Wow. So, and what was good about that loss too is there was a small, unique scenario. It would have unlikely happened, but there was still that chance where if the Lakers had won here the next 2 of the next 3 games, there would be a chance that they might still not get the 3 had, I think, the Minnesota Timberwolves won all 4 of the remaining games. And I think the other one was Memphis winning all 3 of their games. I don't quote me on that. It was one other team that needed to win all 3 of their games to jump the Lakers to get the 3 seed. But right now, with Minnesota's loss, it's 100% that if the Lakers win 2 of the next 3 games, the 3 seed is theirs. That needs to be priority number 1. How that plays out right now, I don't know. I do know that they're going to be available tomorrow. I know that they're going to want to win tomorrow. Definitely. And I believe they will win tomorrow. Whether they're going to play a competitive game against Houston next will be determined by how Houston looks at the next few games for them, because they're all but done in getting the 2nd seed right now. I think they might have clinched anyways.
Clinched it, by the way. They clinched it with tonight.
Yeah. So they may scale back a little bit. And if they do scale back, that means the Lakers have a really good chance at possibly getting that game. It is a home game, so maybe the Lakers close out the 3 seed on I believe it would be on Friday, Gerald. Am I
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So on Friday, the Lakers, especially if Houston decides that they want to sit everybody to rest them up for the first round, I think the Lakers could clean this out on Friday. So if not, they still have Portland to finish off.
The magic number, again, as I was saying earlier, is 2. So if the Lakers just win 2 themselves, or if they win 1 and one of the other teams involved right there, Golden State or Denver that are close enough, or even the Clippers lose 1, then that's it. That's all she wrote.
Yeah.
What's up, Serge?
Yeah. I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at it from the other teams losing, even though there's a likelihood of that happening.
Well, they have to
I'm
because some of them are playing each other, Joe.
right. Okay, so right now I'm just focused on just win tomorrow, win one more game, and then it's yours. If it happens before then, without having to win the second game, so be it. But right now, I just want them to win. I also want them to win 50 games. I think it kind of would be a little bit of a badge of honor to, after all that's happened this year, they end up winning 50 because I had them winning 44 this year, and maybe they would have still gotten to 50 with AD on the team and Max Christie, but we'll never know that. But when Luca came, that kind of changed everything, obviously. So I think we're in a better position to win a championship versus having AD on the team. AD's not playing tomorrow, right, G?
AD,
Yeah,
I
is
think
he
he
playing tomorrow?
is. Yeah, I
Is
think
he?
he's.
Okay.
Let me look
So
at. Yeah, let me look at his last few games. Look at his game log. I think he did play in the last game, so I think he should be available.
okay, so we're gonna have the I titled the
Yeah, he played
I
27 minutes on Saturday, Joe. I don't see
okay
any reason why
okay. So
he won't.
there's the 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 trade guys are gonna play each other here, and I think there's gonna be a lot of eyes on this, and everybody that was likely involved in the trade are gonna play to the highest level just to kind of do what they do, right? But
Yep,
we'll see.
he's listed
We'll
as
see.
probable. He's listed as probable.
Hey, search. Are you talking about Joe? Which Joe are you talking about? Oh, it's funny. Let me see here. Legend sent up. Same here, Joe. Been ready for regular season to end. The real season and excitement begins with it. Yeah, and usually I can. I mean, we usually get burnt out by the regular season, but more often than not, when the Lakers are our competitor or competing and playing for the right spots being like actual playoff, high playoff seeding. Usually, this is kind of set already. Not we're not waiting till the last game of the year, but it's been a unique year in a lot of ways. What we're gonna ride it until it's done, and then I'm just happy after it's done. We're not gonna have to worry about is Rui playing tomorrow, although that might happen too. I don't know. They might sit
It's
him out
funny
if they
because
have to.
Fire Nico is already trending on Twitter.
It becomes the narrative of the sheep. Is that sound correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun line by the sheep that are entrenched in the narrative, whether it's correct or not. And I still don't believe that Nico Harrison was the reason. He was the guy that pulled the trigger, but there was a boss that said you need to pull the trigger
Yeah, but it
or
was
the
him
trigger.
that actually chose. Okay, he might have been told to go ahead and make the trade, Joe, but it was up to him to decide who we wanted to trade him for. And he has always had an affinity for Anthony Davis. So you have what you have there. But yeah, that's the mural they just painted in time for tomorrow's game. So
Okay, so he is the scapegoat. He is the Roger Goodell of the Dallas Mavericks. He's taking the bullets, right?
mhm.
And he made the decision. Is the news? Do you believe that? Do you believe that he said, "Okay, I'm going to go get Anthony Davis because that's who I think is the best trade setup." I don't know if I necessarily believe after some of the news I heard afterwards, like later, where that might have not been his that might have not been his first choice. I heard that there was some talk that he did initially contact Minnesota for Anthony Edwards, and then they decided to decline. The question there is, how did that not leak out if that is in case what happened?
Exactly. That would have leaked out faster than you can say C spot run.
And I don't believe LeBron James knew because I
No.
believe that
He was told at dinner.
Rich Paul and Maverick Carter and his people would have leaked it out too because they're weasels just
Oh yeah.
like most of these media guys, right? Those are the type of guys. That's who they are. They're
Mhm.
weasels. They pull something out like that. They wouldn't be quiet. So how I look at this is this was the only trade that would have been able to stay under wraps, in my view, and actually convince themselves that, hey, look, we're going to get a young player in Max Christie that's a perimeter player that can play defense, and we're going to get Anthony Davis, who at the time hadn't gotten injured in a while. Now he's Anthony Davis. He's always got some kind of ailment, but he still played 76 games last year. There was no way they were making that trade assuming that Anthony Davis would be debilitated in any way. And of course, first game for the Mavericks, he ended up, what did he out? Was he out 6 weeks?
Yep, but he was
And
already
then-
hurting going into
right.
it with that
And then
abductor.
and then the entire Dallas Mavericks team ended up dropping like flies. And the biggest one was Kyrie Irving. No one was going to expect Kyrie Irving to tear an ACL. So it just bad juju all around that happened there, and all hell broke loose. But had none of these guys gotten injured and were playing, they would have been competitive. They would have been competitive. And even still, I don't know whether they didn't do it because, or they did the trade because they didn't want to pay Luka the supermax. I don't know if there's legitimate animosity towards him. I thought for a second maybe there's something going on behind the scenes, something like a Marcus Allen to Al Davis back in the 80s and early 90s. Did something happen there that no one is talking about? Something outside basketball. I don't know if we'll ever know. And I'm only mentioning this because the game is happening tomorrow. I couldn't care less about any of this. I'm just creating information, dialogue right now because this is going to be a watched game and it's going to be intense. It's going to be intense, and it's also got ramifications to the playoffs. So all I want right tomorrow is for the Lakers to win, however they can do it, whether Luka has an amazing game or not. I want the Lakers have to win tomorrow, and I believe they should. And then once that's done, it's done. It's off to Houston or off to LA to play Houston, and let's get this thing wrapped up so that we can focus on hopefully playing the Clippers in the first round. That's the next thought I have after hopefully the Lakers clinch the third seed. Can the Clippers right now somehow sneak in and get that sixth seed? So looking at the standings, the Clippers right now are sitting at the 4. And they are there virtual of the tiebreaker. So Denver, Golden State, and the Clippers right now, as well as the Memphis Grizzlies, all have 47 wins and 32 losses. So what has to happen here for the Lakers to play the Clippers? Because I want them to stay in LA in the first round. The Denver is going to have to win. Golden State's going to have to win. And then if the Clippers and Memphis win out, the Clippers end up winning. They just have to lose one game, actually. Let's see here. How does this work? If Memphis and the Clippers lose one game and Denver and Golden State win the rest of their games, they could end up being the 6th seed, or they will be the 6th seed. But the likelihood of how this is going to play out, I don't know. I haven't figured out yet how this is going to play out. Pretty crazy because Minnesota is only one game behind those guys, so they could jump. They could jump in the end. Dallas is going to want to win tomorrow because I think tomorrow, if Dallas beats the Lakers, I think they might clinch the play-in at that point, right? Or have they already clinched?
Who? Dallas?
Dallas, yeah.
Dallas for not for the 10th. Phoenix, okay, they have the same record as Portland, even though Phoenix got killed tonight.
Mhm.
But somehow, magically, Joe, Phoenix and Portland is already been eliminated, was eliminated over the weekend. Yet somehow they have the same record as Phoenix, but Phoenix has still a, a slight chance to get into the play-in, Joe. So, what was it? Sacramento's the only one who has the play-in locked up right now.
See, I saw something that said that Phoenix had been eliminated, but
Let me
I
let me
don't know.
check. They didn't. ESPN hadn't updated it at that time. You would think they would be at 35. No, they're not. They're not. ESPN has them at 35 and 44, same record as the Trailblazers, but somehow they still, I guess because there is three games to go and they have the tiebreaker in Dallas. That's why they have the tiebreaker in Dallas, Joe. But they would have to win all three, and Dallas would have to lose all three.
Okay, so there's still a chance, but I believe Dallas will probably get that 10 spot.
I would fire Budenholzer, and if I was Frank Vogel, I would just enjoy the rest of my golf round. I don't know. I forget who he's advising.
Is it really his fault, Gerald?
I think so. I think so.
It was
I think
Budenholzer's fault that the Suns went down?
I don't think it's all his fault. No. I mean, obviously, it's the way they set the team together and the ownership so hard, for the Bradley Beal trade and all that. But come on, they had virtually the same lineup last year, and they were a much better team last year. You fire Vogel, and you've only gone downhill from there. So again, I would put a lot of the blame on Budenholzer because they thought they were going to be so much better with Budenholzer and his offensive schemes, et cetera, and they are worse. They are worse on both ends of the floor.
I think Bradley Beal not allowing a trade this trade season was the stake in the heart of the Phoenix Suns. If you want to fire Budenholzer, so go ahead. If you want to go pay another coach while you're paying this guy for another 4 years, then you sign a 5-year contract.
Yeah, and you're also paying Vogel as well.
I don't know if it's productive for you to do that. I really don't.
I'm just saying the results. If we are in the results business, and you look at Michael Malone, who got fired for a team that's 12 games above 500 and still has a slight chance to get third place in the Western Conference. Budenholzer's done a really crappy job this year, and
I don't know. I don't. He may well have, but look what's happened in the last few weeks. Taylor Jenkins has gotten fired. His team's going to be in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Malone got fired today. Denver could still get a 4 seed. Same with Memphis. Something weird is going on here, man. This is turning into hockey. I don't even think hockey's this bad. Hockey usually fires their coach after like a week into the season. Ralph, you got to stop. You need to get off of social media for a couple of weeks. Like, just be off it. When you're on social media with your generation, you start talking and you start talking about space stuff. I used to hear a lot of Beyonce and Jay-Z are about part of the Illuminati because they do this. If there's any above, behind the curtain type power people, do you really think they're going to let Beyonce in there? Be real. Come on. You guys got to start thinking a little bit. I'm not on drugs, only testosterone. You and me both. And mine is still from the original factory. I may need to start looking outside the factory as soon as I hit the 50 mark. I don't know. What do you think, G? Are you a guy that might have to replenish some of the old T cell situation
Not
down the
yet.
road?
Not yet, but maybe down the road. Yeah, as I get closer to that big 6-0, I definitely see that.
There is. I've actually done some research on it. There are some, just like anything else, there's some negatives there with replacement of that. But if the body isn't producing enough at some point, you have no choice. Otherwise, you're going to be living a a lethargic kind of lifestyle if you don't. So at least that's what I've read. Mark from Australia. Searchy, what am I missing, bro? Haha, just finishing work. Good to see you here, Mark. For some reason I can't click on to adding any more mods on here. I thought initially it was because I was off of my YouTube page for the
Maybe it's the
experiment.
number of subscribers. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I was able to put a couple of the guys at the beginning of the show, the first show. I don't know if there's a limit there. I have to look into it. The PP isn't working. You need to. I don't have a problem there. Not yet. Not yet. No, Search. I haven't put anybody at since you came on. I haven't been able to put anybody on anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it. Let's see. Answer some of these questions here. Where are we here?
Clippers, though, on a 5-game roll. I think they'll give some teams something to be nervous about if they were going to playoffs. I still think the Lakers would handle them in 6. But yeah, I know you don't like me talking about it, but Ivica Zubac's 24 and 20, Joe, 8 offensive rebounds. He rebounds like that in any playoff series. That could be trouble for any.
It is nuts. I just.
And he anchors the second best defense in the NBA.
You have from 3. Yeah, from 3 to 8. From 3 to 8, there's only 2 games separating from 8 to 3. How do you even assess how this is all going to kind of play out in a way? You really don't know, especially with how injuries have dictated so much. I don't even know how to look at it. I really don't at this point. That's the problem. That's the problem right now with all this right now. We still got to wait till this weekend to really know how this is going to play out. There's no shot of really understanding how this is going to play out until it plays out. I was sitting there for a second thinking, because the last time I looked at the standings, this was, a few hours ago, I was like, yeah, the Clippers, if they do this, this, and that. And all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, the Clippers jumped up since the last time I looked at the standings a couple hours ago. Now they're sitting in the 4 versus when I saw them, what was it, at the 5 or at the 6? I don't even remember anymore. So you're looking at 4 teams that are sitting between 4 and the last spot, the 7th. If every team wins, of those 4 team wins, the team that's going to get the 4 seed is going to have the same record as the team that's got to play in the play-in. It's just crazy how even this thing has gotten. It's absolutely nuts. There is no spoon, Ralph.
Ralph, I would say
there is no spoon.
If you were to trade Booker, I would look mostly at these offensively starved teams. Orlando is the first place I'd look. Pistons, that's a good call as well. But Orlando, since it's so bad offensively, I would definitely see what they'd be willing to give up.
So JY says these owners aren't basketball guys. They're running their teams like a business. Most of them could care less about winning. That's more in baseball, JY. And I'm not saying that NBA owners aren't like that too, but it's harder to, for some weird reason, it's harder to do that in the NBA. Well, no, actually I do know, because there's a salary floor in the NBA. You have to pay up to 90% of the salary every year. You can't just be the Pittsburgh Pirates or the who else? I guess you can say Detroit Tigers and Minnesota Twins. Like, those guys can pay whatever. There's no floor that they have to reach. So, and in the NBA, there's no team that can really just be about the money. They have to pay up at the very least 90% of the salary cap. They have to use that. As far as Detroit, Detroit has made a huge leap since last year. I was ready to write off Cade Cunningham, and much like almost a lot of the big subjects this year, I've been wrong. I don't think I've been wrong this much this year in my entire sports life when it comes to predicting how even before Luka came, the Lakers were still kind of competitive and looked like they weren't going to be a bad team in terms of getting, out of the play-in, right? They would have made the play-in. They would have made likely the 6th seed, even if Luka didn't come. I think that's how they were kind of going. And looking at the Max Christie's, looking at the Bronny James, right now they're starting to eke out of that area that I had put them in. Kate Cunningham, I was getting to the point where maybe this guy was a bust. And of course, we talked enough about Jeannie and Rob and their acumen, right? So it's been the year of the wrong for me. I've been wrong a lot this year. So I have to reevaluate my assessments this summer and really start thinking about getting into what seems to be happening in the NBA. There's a change happening in the NBA. There's a lot of change happening in the NBA. The way players are being developed, the way teams are constructing teams, the way players can maybe fit in certain areas where they may be useful. It's a lot. The fact that we saw, I have never seen this in NBA in my time watching the NBA. I've never seen a team fire a coach, a playoff team at the end of the year. I've never seen that. We saw it twice in a week. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. We might see, Gerald, we might see a 5th seed or a 6th seed win a championship maybe for all we know.
Yep.
We don't know. What if the Clippers are for real? What if Kawhi plays the entire time and James Harden channels something from his prime? Who knows at this point? I have no idea. All that can happen at this point. Not likely, but it could. So be ready for that. And I have to, fix my analysis a little bit this summer and get with what needs to happen for the next year too. Aaron, what's up, brother? Houston 95 again, 6th seed champion. Well, I just said that there's a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised. I used the 6th seed with the Clippers because that's something that I want them to be at because the Lakers are likely going to be the 3. But I also thought of what if some weird thing happens in the East where the 6th seed there is Detroit, since we were talking about Detroit. What would need to happen for Detroit to win it all? So let's just hypothetically think about this for a second. So let's say Detroit surprises the Knicks, which I wouldn't be surprised. I actually would not be surprised at that if they upset the Knicks. The Knicks are kind of all over the place. It's not going to likely happen, but I wouldn't be surprised either if it did happen. What happens after that? Let's say Detroit beats the Knicks. Now they're going to face likely the Celtics. And what if Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown get hurt? We saw that happen, every round last year, G?
Yep.
What if something happens? I'm not saying it's a torn Achilles or anything like that. Let's just say maybe Jason Tatum has a severe high ankle sprain where he's out for that series. Detroit beats Boston, right? And then let's say the Cleveland Cavaliers are in the Eastern Conference Finals and they're playing Detroit, and Donovan Mitchell gets hurt for the series. All this stuff is possible at this point. I'm not wishing it for it to happen, but it could happen.
If Mark, if you're in the chat, you got to explain to me why your boy Giddy and Kobe White did not play in today's game against the Cavaliers. They just totally decided to tank that game. They've been playing so well. Decided not to play with. Yeah, they didn't play any of their starters outside of Buzelis. Weird. I thought they were fighting for a playoff spot.
I don't know what this load management stuff. I think they've done about everything they can. Mm-hmm. I don't think it matters.
That's just weird. He
Uh,
went out last night? Oh, okay. You
I
must have.
I did want
Those
to I did
those
want to
young
talk about
ladies.
I did want to talk about
Young
this.
ladies.
I did want to talk about. So, did we ever get a clear sign on what really happened there, Gerald? Wasn't she
What?
17 and he was 19?
Yeah, but she indicated, I believe, that she was 18. So, I think that
But
was a
she
little
was
bit.
17 and he was 19, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know technically that's still not good, but I don't understand why. I
I
grew
mean,
up.
if they're just dating, it's just a matter of what are they doing behind closed doors. If it's,
Well, you know what they're doing. If 17
well,
and 19 is not
those
17
hormones
and
start going. What are you
it's
gonna
not
do?
17 and 45.
No.
I'm trying, and I think most the narrative. I think most of the people that are talking smack are just doing that just to be dicks.
It's still illegal though, if
Yeah,
anything,
right,
went down.
right. But I'm sorry, but as someone who's very, very defensive of that kind of stuff from a much wider area, that you have to have some common sense there. This is, and he
I
knew her, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So he knew her, and he's 19. It's weird. Uh, Gerald, I wanted to talk about this. I didn't tease it. I teased it a while ago, but I think now that the subject is here with the whole, oh, now Giddy's sitting now, like the whole load management in the NBA before I get to the Dodgers here and then the White House visit. I'm going to ask you this since you're here because I think it's easier when you're dialoguing with someone instead of just, talking to the crowd where they can't
Mhm.
dialogue back other than typing. Uh, do you think that the reason why the players are getting hurt more now are because the PED testing has pretty much sealed the deal on them using those things comfortably since the 90s and 2000s and even before then?
Could be something to it.
Okay, so I have a thought. I had a theory. I had a theory. Maybe the reason why they're getting hurt is because you saw with Jerkson Profar, he got suspended for 80 games for using a masking agent that usually is used after you've done a cycle so that you can eliminate the estrogen stuff in your body, right?
Mhm.
So, what I'm thinking is maybe the reason why guys aren't healing up quick enough is because they're not allowed to use what they were probably using back in the day.
I think
That's
also as well, you gotta remember back in the day, if guys got hurt, sprained their ankles, high ankle sprain, whatever grade, they didn't classify it. They didn't go to the extent and the lengths they do now. They would, they'll tell you, Joe, they'll romanticize about it, Joe, how they used to just tough it out and wrap it up and just go out there. So in a lot of cases, uh, it could be just the fact that the injuries now they try to the prevention is what they got try to go or more into these days than what they did in previous, because the medical knowledge is more. They know that if you go and sprain your ankle, let's just say, whatever grade it is, you're more likely to be susceptible if you force yourself to go out there and hurt yourself even more. Whereas back in the day, just a lot of the times you've talked about it before in football, concussions and all that back in the day when they didn't have the knowledge of head injuries and all that. Just you know, you get an injury. Can you see what do you 5? Okay, you can see 5. All right, you're back out there on the field. I mean, I think a lot of that it has to play into it as well, Joe. The amount of I guess detail in how injuries occur and what they label them as and how they prevent players from going out there and performing because of it, because of the investments involved as well, has totally changed the landscape as well.
maybe I'm trying to make an excuse finally for the softness of the generation of athletes, but this is this in the NBA, the 65 game minimum, that could mean a lot of that could be millions of dollars at stake, and it doesn't look like it's really guys are breaking down. Like they can't, they're
Mhm.
not making it. Uh, but I don't know. I don't know. It's a thought that y- y- I don't want to. I don't want to continue to. Uh, I don't want to continue to say the same thing over and over again. At some point, I want to do research enough to understand if it's something specific. I'm not going to be able to do any kind of research on this really because you'd have to actually go talk to individuals back in the day, talk to individuals now, and it would have to be kind of a secret because it's something that I may not be able to talk about. Could be.
Mhm.
I remember Rick Fox used to talk about how they took Advil like it was M&Ms.
Yeah.
Ibuprofen was a big thing. Shaq even talked about it in one of his documentaries on HBO, where he was always taking that stuff. And I didn't know the the excess of it until I heard him for the first time saying that years later, when Alonzo Mourning had kidney issues back in the 2000s. A lot of it was they said a lot of it was attributed to the fact that his body was taking in all that painkiller type stuff and it ended up messing up his kidneys. And Shaq was said that he was worried about that too because he didn't talk about it. Like I took a lot of this stuff. I didn't hear it till recently, but I think he was worried too because he said when I take this stuff, my body feels good because he'd get pretty beat up as much as the big man, played big, having two, maybe three, 6'10", 250-pound guys pounding on you left and right, you're going to get bruises. You're going to get messed up. These guys are big human beings. So let's see. JY, the Lakers load management too, but teams don't load manage against the Lakers. I wonder why. Yeah, that always seems to be the case. Is it coincidence? Is it played out? Why is that, Gerald? Why is it that everyone always comes back for the Laker games?
Was what I think we mentioned it a couple weeks ago that when JJ said it like before a game at a press conference, had some like statistic that teams are 86% available to play against the Lakers, which are according to their stats was number one in the NBA. Maybe it's the front of the jersey. Maybe it's the fact that you usually a higher profile game, what have you. The Lakers draw better than almost anyone else in the NBA, if not the best in the NBA. I don't know. There's probably a myriad of reasons why. Sometimes it's just plain timing, but it is not something that we fabricate, or we imagine. It's something that it's real. Teams do get better for the Lakers, however much of a threat they see. It's just interesting to see that Boston or a OKC or a Cleveland doesn't get that same type of respect. I think it's just kind of funny. You got to laugh at it, Joe. You got to laugh at it.
So Mark says he attributes it to the fact that when you play the big teams, because it happens in soccer too, the Real Madrids, the Barças, or the Barcas, people want to come play in that game. For you might be right. You might be right. You might be right because you're gonna get a lot more requests from the fam and the friends, right? Hey,
Mm-hmm.
can you get us tickets to the Lakers? Can you get tickets to the Lakers? We want to see LeBron. Da 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 da. I want to see Kobe. Da 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 da. Right? Yeah,
I mean,
I think that makes sense.
ESPN forces the Lakers down everyone's throats as an audience member. If you listened enough or listen long enough, they have to include the Lakers. It's a mandate from the company. It's a mandate. They joke about it on all these shows that I watch about how it has to be, but it is a mandate that the Lakers have to be mentioned simply because of the fact that they've drawn and have such an aura. I mean, I don't want to say they're the Yankees of this generation, but it certainly seems like it, Joe, that they now have the aura that the Yankees once did. And I know the Dodgers are getting to that point right now, Joe. But yeah, it just seems like the Lakers have this aura and mystique, whether you love them or you hate them, that they're always going to go ahead and just get attention anytime anything is associated with them, even if it's just like a game or if it's a trade or if it's a draft choice. It just seems like the spotlight is always on. the LA Lakers?
Well, in talking about bringing your A game and bringing all the athletes to the big games, Aaron has mentioned that with the Dodgers here, the first, and it's a segue into what I wanted to talk about next. The Washington Nationals have all pretty much controlled the first two games at home against the world champ LA Dodgers. Dodgers have kind of inflicted their own, and that seems to always be the case with the Dodgers. They keep walking everybody, and the bottom third of the lineup has just been atrocious, including some of the staples on the team like Kike and what we thought, in terms of the left-handed crusher like Andy Pajes. But I think Andy Pajes has been playing out of position. He's not necessarily a center fielder. I want to give Andy a little bit of a reprieve on that, because I think when you're playing out of position, you can't expect everybody to be Mookie Betts. You can't expect everyone to be Edman, where they can just switch whenever. It's very difficult to play baseball like that. You usually have a spot, and when you have players like Teoscar Hernandez, and you have someone like Michael Conforto, who's been balling since he's gotten to LA, spring training and the regular season. Now what? Where are you going to put Pajes, right? You have to put him somewhere, and you need his bat. So the Dodgers lost today, and they lost in the pretty dominating fashion, 8-2, and it was never close. This looked like a Dodger game that we watched a lot during the playoffs. Just complete domination. Pitching was good. A lot of power hits, a lot of smart, small ball as well, drawing a lot of walks. James Wood, who is at this point, looks like the National League version of Aaron Judge, hit 2 homers today, had 5 RBIs, seems to have the Dodgers number. And the Dodgers weren't able to start Blake Snell today because he had soreness in his elbow. I'm sorry, soreness in his shoulder.
DL? I don't know.
Yeah, he's on the IL for 15 games.
Is it really 15 games with the retroactive thing? It's like,
Not for
I don't know
pitchers,
the
no.
rules behind that, but it's also
No.
so funny. It's because he's on the DL, Joe, but he's on the DL retroactive to
No,
April 3rd.
retroactive. Yeah, so retroactive. What happens is, well, here I'll point out to the Freddie Freeman thing. So Freddie was on the 10-day IL, and that was retroactive because he didn't play. He didn't play the first X amount of days, and then they tacked that on to days later. Like, well, we'll put him on the IL, and he'll be eligible to come back, which will be this Friday, which will be I think the 11th.
So he's only gone how many days in actuality?
With pitchers, it's not every 5th start, right? It's just days of games.
I know, but it's just hilarious. It's
days. It's not even games. Yeah,
it's circumventing the actual intent of the rule there.
Well, they still didn't play, and then things develop, and they're like, "Hey, we'll just tack it on to the days he's missed. He hasn't played, and that's it." I don't think it's a bad thing. Maybe they don't initially assume that someone's going to be out for 10 or 15 days, and then they've already been out, let's say 5 days, and like, look, put them on the DL, make it official, and we'll call it a day, right? It's all about roster spots, G. That's what it comes down to. Roster spots have to be fulfilled. So these guys already have to deal with so many rules now. The rules of the pitcher having the pitch on a clock and not have any substance on their hands, and hitters have to be in the box at a certain time. They can't, move around like they used to. They can't be relaxed. They're constantly dealing with 100-mile-an-hour pitches. There's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that's changed in baseball. Chipper Jones was interviewed recently, and he said if he was playing in today's game, and this is the affirmation that I think baseball fans needed to hear. He said back in the 90s, and in the early 2000s, he goes, you might run into 1, maybe 2 guys that are going to throw triple digits. Now, every roster has a triple-digit thrower.
Yeah.
He goes, I'd be batting 200. And the funny thing about that is a lot of these guys are batting 200 now and playing all year.
Yeah, it's funny because you and I, back when we were younger, the Mendoza line, it used to tell me, is this guy a Major League Baseball player or is he not a Major League Baseball player? Because if he couldn't hit the over the Mendoza line, as they call it, 200, okay, he's just not a player. Now, Joe, you see a lot of these players like hitting 170, 180, 190, and they're just getting continual bats in the league. And I'm just saying to myself, it's just to me nerve wracking that you send up someone up there in, let's say, late August, Joe, or early September, and he's had an entire season to get his act together. He's still hitting 180 and he's still up there getting 4 to 5 bats a game. It's just crazy. This would have never happened, let's say 80s, 90s, what have you, Joe. It just makes absolutely no sense to me. If you cannot, doesn't matter how many times you strike out, doesn't matter how many home runs you get, because that's basically what it is now, strikeout or home run. If you cannot put the bat on the ball and get more than an average of 200, you do not deserve to be in that lineup.
There's not enough hitters, Gerald.
It's just
There's
terrible.
there's a new line. There's a new line, and I this isn't based off any particular player. Like Mendoza was a particular player that got that tag. So at this point, you have a new
And
line
now
called
he'd be like an average hitter in the
yes,
league
he
now,
would be.
Joe.
He would be. There's a Garcia line now. I totally made up that name. I went off a Latin name, just like Mendoza. I'm sure there's a Garcia somewhere that's batting 150. That's the new line. The new Mendoza line is really the guy that's batting 150. Hell, I don't even know Aaron, is Kike even averaging 150 at this point? Let me look at the stats.
Well,
Kike is at
uh,
111.
Kike only shows up in September, Joe. Come on.
Kike Kike is at 111. Pajes is at 162. Muncie is at 190. You're talking about one third of your lineup batting 111, 190, 162. So those are the reasons why the
There's a
Dodgers have
reason
been
why
kind of sucking
Kike
at it.
keeps bouncing around the league and then comes back to the Dodgers. He is a player that's built for a certain time of the year, Joe, and this is not it. This time of the year is not it.
Chris Taylor, geez, I'm not gonna pounce on someone who's already pretty much knee. No, not knee. I'd say the neck at this point. He's neck high and buried right now. Chris Taylor. I don't even know what kind of career he's going to have after his contract runs out this year. My assessment on Chris Taylor is if he continues to do what he's doing right now, he's going to get DFA'd towards the end of the year. There's no doubt. At some point, this will be it. They'll pay him until August, and they're like, "All right, Chris, we got to go another way," and that'll be the last time Chris Taylor will wear a Dodger uniform. Uh, all the props to Chris Taylor. He did a lot of good in his time since he's been a Dodger, but I think the end is coming. I think the end is coming, and I think before it's all said and done, unless he makes a drastic change in his hitting skills, hitting ability, I believe he is going to get DFA'd. I don't. I think they're trying to get him his 10-year. That might be why they're sticking with him. I don't know if that might happen, but if they get desperate and they have to bring somebody that can do something, I don't know. I don't know how much longer they can hold on. We'll find out. We'll find out.
I mean, they're
So
nine
we
and
can.
four, Joe. So it's not like
Well,
the sky is
it's
falling.
yeah, yeah. But Chris Taylor has been on the downward
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
spiral for a
I
while.
hear you. I
This is
agree.
not
I
so
agree.
much the organizational part of things. And I know that I know Muncie can get out of his funk sometimes. I know Kike's here for the later games down the road. But Chris Taylor has been in the dumps for pretty much 3 years now. He has absolutely just not. He is he has lost all of his juice. It's just not there. It's gone.
And I bet Jamie's happy the Angels are leading the American League right now. That's the only time he'll hear me say that.
Oh man, let's see what the standings are. I haven't even looked at the standings here today.
Angels in the American League, they have the best record, followed by the Texas Rangers.
Okay.
Let me see if Mike Trout is hurt yet. No, he's been playing. 10
No,
games so
he's been
far.
raking actually, but
He's got a 171 right average.
yeah, I don't know. He's been hitting home runs.
Uh, their
He's kind of been
catcher,
playing. He's been kind of playing like Kike. He's either not hitting or he's hitting home runs.
uh, Logan O'Hop. Watch out for that name, Joe. Guy's hit 5 home runs already.
Good, good. Like to see some young blood make some segue here in baseball. But
Oh, I
yeah,
remember when Joe Adele was supposed to be the next great thing for the Angels. Like that's all I ever heard. All I ever heard was just Joe Adele, this superstar in the making, and he never became anything. Right now, he's hitting 185. Yeah.
no, JY. I don't think they're missing Bueller. Bueller hasn't necessarily been pitching well, unless his last stint was good. I remember his first one wasn't that good. Bueller is kind of like the Kike of pitching,
Oh,
and the Dodgers.
JSJ.
Uh, I'll get the JSG in a minute.
Please do.
The the uh, the Dodgers have a formidable pitching staff. Once they're on, I think they'll be fine towards the end of the year. Snell always starts out slow. Glass now is feast or famine. Let's hope there's a chance we can get him at feast at some point if you just make sure we can make it through the season. Roki, I believe, will get better and better, and Yamamoto right now is going to have a Cy Young Award competing career this year. That's gonna be there. Then the wild card will be what will Shohei do come June. If Shohei can show some stuff there, now you have him, and then Clayton Kershaw's just waiting for his toe to heal. I think he'll be ready in July. He'll throw a couple innings, covering for some phantom IL stints from whether it's Snell, whether it's Glass now, whether it's Roki, whether it's Yamamoto. We'll see. We'll just get to the playoffs with at least 3 healthy studs out of that group. But I'd like to see 4. I actually want to see 4. I want to see 4 of those guys ready to go in the playoffs because they have a bullpen that's going to be a juggernaut all year. Not worried about the bullpen at all. And then the hitting has been there. Up until today, their hitting was there. And I believe something will get fixed once Freddie Freeman gets back. And they got out of the cold too. I think the cold played a huge factor here the last couple of days. I didn't feel like they were really fielding well. They were cold. They were just tight. They were tight the last couple days. But
Remember when you and I each and every day we were told we were so negative Nancy's, so depressing to listen to, so dark, blah 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 blah. That reminds JSJ these days reminds me of how we used to be before the Luca train.
what was that song that they sang? Was in the Naked Gun movie.
Do 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 do. By the way, again, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you guys seen the Naked Gun trailer? Let me know your thoughts because I'm all over the place on it. I'm not quite warmed up to it. I am a huge Naked Gun fan and Airplane fan, and I just want to hear your thoughts. I'm not there yet. I love Liam Neeson as an actor, but I just don't know if they're not going as daring as the Zuckers did.
The only way we'll know is when we see it. It looked like the trailer really didn't want to give out too much information.
Yeah, I guess so. But I think it needed to, Joe. I think it needs to. Uh, it needs to remind people and also introduce people to the wackiness that was the Naked Gun movies.
Jay, why are you scared of AD? Dallas should be scared of Luca tomorrow, not AD. Scaring
So if he
you.
drops 35 and 12, do you want him back instead of Luca?
It doesn't matter. That ship has sailed. AD is done in LA forever.
Yeah, but
That's
people
never going
won't
to
let it
happen.
go, Joe. You know
But
this. You see this in the
it doesn't
comments.
matter. I'm trying not to address it. I'm gonna go back to Dodgers here, just because I want to end this with the White House visit here. But at this point, Aaron, I think they should bring up Kim so that they at least can solidify the second base, the defense at second base, and then Edmund just can go to center field and that area will be done right. Now, if there is something, if there's a situation where they want to put Kim at shortstop because Mookie's not doing well, and then Edman at second. You have to put. Yeah, you're going to have to put. You could. I guess you maybe Mookie at center. Maybe you move Teoscar to center and put Mookie back to right. I don't know if that's going to play out that way, but those things are going to have to be discussed if the defense continues to be bad with what they have right now. So, to end the show with, I'm not going to go political here, Gerald and guys. I'm not going to talk politics, and that's actually the subject of this discussion. Is the fact that I read some of the dumbest comments from Dodger fans, from all kinds of fans, about the Dodgers' visit to the White House. And I actually, believe it or not, I wasn't expecting some of the comments. I knew there would be some people that are like, "Why did you go to the warehouse? Why did you go to the White House?" I knew that was going to happen, but the stupid, idiotic comments, the extent were pretty bad. And we're talking about the same people generally who are always talking about, get out of my business, let me do what I want to do, stop telling me what to do this, and this whatever's going on is going to be this tyranny, and this, we're losing the democracy and we're losing blah blah blah. The same assholes who talk about that kind of stuff are the ones that are perpetuating that same bullshit. Oh, we're not good. They should not ever do this. Like I have literally heard this, right? Like in the same discussion. Some idiot said one time, our democracy is floundering. We're gonna be, these people are Nazis. They're this, all the same bullshit rehashed dialogue, right? And in the same discussion, I heard an idiot say, I would make people take the vaccine. I would force them. The same discussion, completely contradicting everything he had just said before that. So that kind of reminded me of today in the last day or so. You had the Dodgers honor their championship title by being invited to the nation's capital, which is a tradition, which is America, which is an honor, and they give a jersey to the president. The president takes care of them and congratulates them, does a press conference, all this to honor excellence. Instead, you have these dumb fucks who get on their soapbox and start yapping about, oh, I can't believe Shohei shook the president's hand. What goes on in somebody's brain when they talk like this? I have no respect now for Mookie Betts. I can't believe Mookie Betts shook his hand. What did you want these guys to do? Did you want them to
If you don't want to go, just don't go.
Did you want them to go on a knee? Is that what would have changed your feelings on this whole thing? And I'm gonna tell you this, G. I'm gonna tell you this, and this is real. This is real. Okay. Context. You've heard me say that how many times? Okay. The difference between Mookie Betts going on a knee and others going on a knee. I had friends that are like, oh my God, I can't believe Mookie Betts went on a knee, right? I was sitting there defending Mookie Betts. I go, hold on a second. Mookie Betts doing what he did is different than what these a-holes were doing. They're like, how is that, Joe? How is that? He did what they did. I go, it's different with Mookie. Mookie doesn't do this. Mookie doesn't do this kind of stuff because he's trying to get attention. He's doing it for the purpose it originally was done for. Now, even though the guy that originated it initially went the wrong way, the deed was in the right place at that time at the beginning. And that happens a lot. You know, all these movements and all these BLMs and any kind of the tea parties and all these things that we've seen in our lifetime, like all these factions that are started. Most charities, most factions are originally started out of something that was supposed to be good, and then what happens is it gets corrupted at some point usually, and then you end up finding out that they're funneling money through it, they're buying mansions through this cause, they've gotten so much money from it that you end up finding out the people that are in charge of it are using it for everything but the cause. I didn't see anything like that this week. All I saw was a team being honored for excellence, for winning a championship, respect from the president, vice versa, and enjoy the moment. Instead, you had these dickless pieces of shit and the ones that are legitimately dickless who are also a piece of shit. You people are scum of the earth. You people, whoever listens to this, are the ones that continue to keep the gap open of issues in this country. You're the reason. And you'll always be the reason because you're miserable pieces of shit. This was not a political event. This was honoring the White House, honoring the country, honoring a championship team. And if you can't decipher the two, then you will always be the reason why shit doesn't work. It will never work because you're pieces of shit. And I wish I could get on a much bigger forum where I could say it. Bill Burr had a interview. I think they were honoring Conan O'Brien, and he had some really good things to say because people have been getting on him, right? Calling him things. Oh, now Bill Burr is this liberal guy. I'm like, why is he a liberal guy? Because he told you to go eat shit? Because he criticized someone over there on Fox? And all of a sudden now he's a liberal? You all know Bill doesn't work one or the other. You know he's his own guy. Why do you make shit up? Why do you imagine shit up until he has to yell at you? Why do we have to yell at you? I remember for a while, now my kids have learned from this. I remember a few years back when I would get upset with my kids. I go, why do I have to raise my voice for you to listen? When are you going to register that I shouldn't have to yell at you? That's what these fuckers are. They're children. And maybe the yelling is what shuts them the fuck up. Maybe not, because then they'll go back, get on the little computers and do their bullshit, because they wouldn't do that 90% of the time outside. And if they're doing it outside, I bet you most of those guys are getting paid to do it.
Again, I'll just say this: if you don't want to go, don't go, and just don't.
It has nothing to do with those guys. It has nothing to do with them. I'm talking about the people who commented. We're talking about Dodger
I know you're
fans.
talking about, but I'm thinking if anybody of these Dodgers didn't want to go, they certainly would have the right not to go. But to complain about it, to spend any time or thought on it, just there are bigger issues, much bigger issues to worry about in daily life than this. It's just, again, it's the same people who, in many cases, or very similar, say things about us. They go and they type their stuff that they want to go ahead and type. They don't think things through, and they're not thinking rationally when they go ahead and do it. They just want to argue for the sake of arguing, and sometimes it doesn't, doesn't really get across very well. And you come across yourself as someone that's very, very poor when it comes to dealing with society, and it's a shame. I feel pity sometimes when I have to answer some of the comments, and I just understand that there are people out there that think like this, and I really kind of feel pity in a way for some of them, that they really have these thoughts when they're typing it up. It's just a shame. It's like we always kid about, Joe, that there are people that absolutely hate us and will absolutely troll us for an entire hour and a half and call us every name in the book. Who's the stupid one? Us, or the people who watched us that hate us for an hour and a half?
No, we're not the stupid ones. No.
Well, that's my point.
This is a clear black and white. This is 100% black and white. You are a piece of shit if you talk like that. You want to disagree with leadership? That's fine. That's on you. That's your decision. That's what America's about. But to have the gall to say things like, I don't respect this. I don't respect Shohei now because he shook this guy's hand, or Mookie Betts because he shook his hand. Even saying it and you probably don't really mean it, you're a fucking idiot. You're a stupid moron, and you're the reason why the divide continues. Because if you actually think that the current leadership now, before, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if you actually believed that this country was going to go back to 1833 or 1792 or 1492, you are as dense as air. Seriously. It's gotten tired. It's gotten exhausting. And the reason why I'm pissed off about this is because I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch CNN. I don't listen to the lies from all these motherfuckers. They're all liars on these stations. They're all a part of a lie to keep you in fear and to keep your attention in complete RPM 9 anger. I'm already hot. I don't need to listen to stuff that's bullshit to make me hot. I'm hot because I'm like the drag racer. When it's time to drag, I drag. It's 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 7 seconds. Sometimes I crash. Sometimes I get through. Sometimes I win. Sometimes I lose. But guess what, Gerald? When that race is over in 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it is, I'm done. I don't care about your affiliation. As long as you're not hurting children, hurting women, and killing innocent people, I don't give a shit. And if you guys still believe that there's some kind of next level thing coming and you have to stick it into some mundane event like a baseball team going to the White House, the nation's capital, and a tradition where all they're doing is dialoguing about the team. They're not talking about politics. They're not talking about policies. Can you let us rest when we do these kind of things? Watch C-SPAN and go jerk off watching that then at the very least, if it bothers you so much. But Jesus, I could not watch D-Mac's show because of this. Everything was, this, and that. And then all the comments on YouTube, just trash. You're all trash. All of you who said things like that, you are garbage and you're the divide. You're the reason why there's the divide. It's not who's in power. It's not. You're the problem. And you'll always be a problem because if you still get the guy you want in there, you'll still be a piece of shit to your friends. You'll still be a piece of shit to your family. You'll still be a piece of shit in the public, your neighbors, all those people. So one way or the other, you're going to be a miserable fuck to somebody. That's who you are. That's who you are. I want that. This is going to stay on YouTube. This is going to stay down the road. Somebody will click on this, a bigger audience, and maybe they'll listen to this and understand where I'm coming with this. Because I'm tired of this. I'm over it. And I want these people to know. I want it to be spread out enough to know. With that, there's nothing positive to talk about today, really.
I said Joe's
everything was bad. Everything was bad. The Lakers lost in a horrific way. The Dodgers played I think today was the worst game they've played this year. And then tomorrow, there's a new day, though. Tomorrow is a new day. The Dodgers have a chance to at least avoid a sweep. I have some confidence that they will.
It's a short flight for the Lakers, too. So.
And then the Lakers, the drama and the prestige of this is going to be pretty high, so it's going to be entertaining to watch. With that, I want to thank you all for being here. Gerald, thank you for being here.
No worries.
It's nice to bounce back some questions here and there.
You've done so much for my channel. It's the least I can do to help yours.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. We're going to keep growing this sucker. Again, for those of you who are listening who are new here, please like, subscribe, and share. I'm sure you guys have seen the links from my good friend Sports Baby on our playback channel. He's been managing my playback channel. He's been excellent, being able to put dual games on there and all the necessary Dodger games and the Laker games. I try to stay away from the Laker games every now and then because I want to make sure your channel gets the Laker traffic. But again, thanks everyone for being here tonight. We're gonna likely be back tomorrow. I say likely because I don't know how the day is going to play out tomorrow. But the plan is to be here tomorrow to have another show to talk about the Dallas Mavericks game as well as the last Dodger game in Washington until later this year. If you want to reach me on social media, you can reach me on my. I've pretty much made it all Joe Soro experiment on my X, which is Joe Soro OX. So it's at Joe Soro OX. If you want to reach me on Instagram, I still have my Sin Blades one. You can still get me on that. But I also created a Joe Soro experiment on that as well. So you can find me on Instagram there. And then I haven't changed anything yet on my Johnny Blade on my Facebook, but I will. Until tomorrow, hopefully there's a better result tomorrow with both teams. We'll kind of go to sleep tonight, wishing for the right things. And till next time, we will see you next time.